day after Christmas in 2004, tectonic plates moved significantly and rocked the northern tip of Sumatra as well as the Andaman Islands. A series of tsunamis was unleashed. The effects were as devastating as several atomic bombs. Nature has shown its might. Days after the disaster, aid streamed in from all over the world. Weeks later, physical restoration efforts commenced, which included many UN organizations. UNESCO helped in the communications sector while looking for a way to rebuild the society. With its counterpart, the Sacred Bridge Foundation, UNESCO chose 3 IDP locations in Aceh Besar. After 1 month of assessment, it had found the way.
Aceh and the tsunami on the 26th of December, as you can see just by the images on this film, there was an incredible disaster that just tore apart the physical structure, the physical lives of the people, and deeply penetrated the whole social and cultural fabric of their existence in this country. Now, appropriately, the United Nations' first effort to assist the government of Indonesia and the people of Aceh is to simply deal with the immediate emergency needs, with the needs for food, the need for shelter, the need for medical support. It is then to try and rebuild that physical structure, but we have to pay attention to the people, to the actual social, the cultural fabric that gives them meaning in their lives and gives the meaning for the recovery and the strength to recover, the strength of their community.
The chosen way was arts. In Aceh, while life is focused on family responsibility, community, and religion, there is room for celebrating life. There are several kinds of festivities, including the agricultural ones of Kenduri Bu for rice, Kenduri Laut for the seagoing activities, and a dozen others. Central to the art forms are the traditions of musical and narrative art, Sedati, frame drum music, Rapai, and folk dances.
We find that there is a real danger for the future of Aceh with the tsunami, which is a secondary impact on people like the traditional performers, because it is they who carry the culture. It is they who carry the strength, which you've seen working with children. And what's starting to happen at the moment is, because many of the performers who were part of fishing villages or agricultural communities, many were killed. And so what's starting to happen is that some of the performers who are left are, for the sake of income, they're working for money in Banda Aceh, which is quite understandable. Of course, you'd expect this. But if this erodes the very roots of the traditions and the basis of those traditions in the communities, in the agricultural and in the fishing villages of the country, the impact of this is on the long-term sustainability of the strength of that culture and the real vitality of that culture to take control, to look after the power of the people of Aceh.
Commercialization has indeed appeared quite soon after the tsunami. While it is needed for the rebuilding, its negative impact, such as profiteering, often hampers the restoration efforts. The real danger, however, lies with the children. As they will be brought up in such abnormal circumstances, they might change the culture for good in the future, with a worldview diametrical to that of their elders. This worldview might prove disastrous, since it was not built from norms, but merely expectations.
But it is UNESCO's role to look beyond this, to look particularly at the social and the cultural fabric of the people who have been so devastated by this incredible disaster in Aceh. We are the agency that really is responsible for the human side of development, for education, for culture, for the way people create the meaning of their lives, and for the way that they communicate. In the context of Aceh, the trauma, the devastation was so complete that it had an impact through the whole of the society and the whole of the structure. So the rebuilding for the people of Aceh, it's a rebuilding in particular of the strength of the culture, which already is a very powerful culture in Aceh. And we can use performance, we can use the expression of the culture of Aceh to assist the people to help rebuild their community, to help them to rebuild the meaning of what it means to be an Acehnese person surviving and taking control over the future, but in particular to work with children, the children who've been so deeply affected and traumatized, who have lost many of their friends, lost in many cases their relatives, and basically are just responding to this incredible trauma of a tsunami. The culture, the power of the culture, the ability to use performance to bring out a dialogue for these children as a healing process is very powerful.
Revitalize the culture. Heal the children. Re-establish communities. This route was not an easy one. Traditionally, arts were taught by masters, namely sheikhs. The sheikhs the children knew, however, were missing. Furthermore, the lessons had to be delivered in such a way so that they created comfort zones for the traumatic children. Knowing that their trauma was hidden, it was decided to start with identity reformation, rediscovering roots, then get in touch with their inner self through sensing the arts, followed by understanding the logic of the arts. This model of healing the children and their communities, while revitalizing intangible heritage at the same time, was developed in the collaboration between anthropologists, psychologists, ethnomusicologists, and the artist. By progressing from roots to senses to logic, and always starting the sessions in the Islamic tradition of saying a prayer, the whole program created a comfort zone for the children. Rediscovering roots, with the help from a Sadati master, children reconnected to their culture. The Sadati tradition involves dancing and music that precedes the arrival of Islam. The songs sung by the Sheikh contain personal, humorous stories, poems, and Quranic verses, but always narrations about the land and its folk. This session was designed to re-enhance the Acehnese identity by bringing historical events and figures into reality. Once the children were connecting with the master, they were given room to touch their inner self by sensing the arts.
Itu 2 kali. 1 kali saja. Oke, kita coba sama-sama. 1, 2, 3, tarik.
Here, the children exercise their senses to release tension, energy, and express their feelings, not only through training, breathing, listening, responding, but also playing and even creating instruments.
main-main ya, yang pas tadi. Bang, 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 tuh, bang, tak, bang, tuh, bang, tak, bang. Bisa main perkussi dengan mulut kita kan? Ya, coba kita main-main dengan itu. Bang, dung ya, ya. Bandung. Ya, jadi berarti 3, 4. Dungnya sana. Dung. Dung.
After the body awareness session, the children learn to handle percussions from whatever available material. Here, they not only learn how to play individually with rhythm, tone color, tempo and pitch, but as a whole. Understanding logic of the arts formed the last part of the program. Here, children were working together, combining song, percussion, and dance, such as Taila Ugle and Tarik Pokat dances. Training of steps, tempo, pattern, and composition provided a means to understand the logic of the arts. Instruction went beyond the usual dancing class by explaining background stories of the dances and the relations with culture, people, land, and sea. Coordinating the body, cooperating with others through dancing, the children built a social unit of their own.
The children have come alive. We had a statement, for example, from the head of the Muhammadiyah orphanage, which is one of the groups of children we were working with, and he said, the children now sing. Before that they did not sing, they were silent, they were deeply affected by the trauma. And what you see here is a methodology that works so well, that you can see before you has worked so well, because firstly, the performers are totally committed, traditional performers who believe in what they're doing. Secondly, because we were able under this program to train them in dealing with and bringing out children that were themselves withdrawn and traumatized. Then, of course, the third thing is that they trained the children in a disciplined way, a way that actually allowed them to participate in the music and the dance, but not as just amateurs, but in a way that they felt and which was strong and which was in a disciplined manner, which meant they entered a dialogue through dance and a dialogue through the Siddhati and through song. So what you find is that the community comes alive. This is the power of culture.
berduri bata beang dua ikat ayun sinan menghimpun dung umat Nabi dalam surga Nasan hayati tempat mututi Adam dengan Hawa to yang cemedep iman hayati dulu Tuhan beri dalam surga Atahiyatun nama dikaya Imo perde hai dalam surga Mubarak barakatun nama dicicip dicungkayanan Tuhan karunia dalam surga hai menggantungkan di indah bukole tak kala rupa kande menggantung bukan dengan kalau menggantung kuda Tuhan karunia dalam surga kaya hidupun dibaca pun nyo intan berduri baca bertabung dua geikat ayun sinan menghimpun umat Nabi